My guest is here. 888-775-3773. Arthur Chu is a Chinese-American actor, comedian, and blogger, currently in Cleveland, Ohio. Interesting side note, he became an 11-time Jeopardy champion back in March of 2014. So this guy is smart, folks. A smart man. Arthur writes for the Daily Beast, and we invited him to discuss his recent article, The Chapel Hill Shooting, and the benefit of the doubt. Very interesting guy. And let's bring him in. Arthur, good morning, sir. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Arthur, in your bio on the Daily Beast, it says that you are a Chinese American. Were you born in America or China?
I was born in Albany, New York.
And do you see yourself as a Chinese American or an American?
I don't think those two things are. I don't think those two things exclude each other any more than a gray car is not a car.
But
or a tall tree is not a tree. It's an adjective.
Well, I'm black and I'm slow. Do you see yourself as an American or a Chinese American?
Do you see yourself as a black American or as an American?
An American who happens to be black, but an American first.
Well, I happen to be Chinese.
And so how do you see yourself, an American or a Chinese American?
I think I just answered your question.
Oh, so you see yourself as a Chinese, not an American?
No, I said I'm an American who's Chinese, just like you're an American who's black.
Let me take a break. Don't go anywhere. 888-775-3773. Arthur Chu is here. Back in a moment. That's right, soul man. I'm a soul man. I'm Jesse Lee Peterson. Welcome back. We'll get to your calls here in a minute. 888-775-3773. 888-77-JESSE. Arthur Chu is with me. He is a writer for the Daily Beast. Wrote an article about the Chapel Hill shooting and the benefit of the doubt. Also, he sees himself as a Chinese and not an American, even though he was born in America, sound like the blacks. But so, Arthur, before we get into...
I didn't say that. First of all, I explicitly did not say that. I said I'm an American who is Chinese.
You're an American who is Chinese. Okay. Tell the folks about the incident in Chapel Hill.
A man shot 3 people execution style. He killed a family. And people are addressing it as a hate crime because it is.
He was a white man who is an atheist, and he hates all religions. Am I correct?
That's not... Well, I think it would be unfair to say he hated all religions.
Well, that's what he said.
He had a very negative view of religion, but yes. But he had a special hatred for Islam, if you want to call it that. He felt that Islam was worse than all other religions.
Where did you get that from?
It's a common belief among Western atheists that he got from Hitchens and Dawkins and writers like them, because they see things in other cultures as more alien and more threatening than things in our own culture. They see things that people do in the Middle East and see it as fundamentally more dangerous or threatening than things people do here in the United States.
But he said, I hate Islam as much as I hate Christianity. He was even in support. He also went on to say, but they have the right to worship in this country just as much as any other religion do. Okay. So it's not true, Arthur, that he hated Islam any more than he hated Christianity.
He lived among Christians for his entire life and somehow never shot 3 Christians over a parking space. The family that he shot said that they had been afraid of him for some time because he was hostile to them.
Maybe he didn't have an argument with Christians. Maybe he didn't have an argument with Christians over a parking spot. Is that possible?
Do you really believe it's normal to kill someone over a parking spot?
No, it's not normal, but the point is that he did not kill them because they were Muslims.
How do you know that?
Because he said he hated all religion. He said it was because of the parking spot. But I want to go to something you wrote. You wrote that the media covered the Chapel Hill shooting as a hate crime. And my question, do you see that as right and accurate today?
It's as accurate as any other time the media covers something as a hate crime. There's a clear indication of bias. There's an indication that he was hostile to them several times in the past because of Islam, that whatever he may have said in that one Facebook post you're quoting, he repeatedly discussed Islam as something threatening and hostile over and over again, and that these people were killed for no rational reason, whether or not he said it was because of a parking spot.
If the guy hated Islam...
It's as rational as calling the Charlie Hebdo shootings a hate crime or the synagogue shooting a hate crime. It's the same thing. Whatever reasons they might give for it, it's clearly motivated.
It's not the same thing at all.
The person they shot.
It's not the same thing at all, my friend. It's not the same thing. Those people cry Allahu Akbar when they killed. You didn't hear this guy saying anything like that. And also, this shooter was in support of the Muslim building a mosque near the 9/11 site there in New York. So there is no evidence at all that he hated Muslims any more than he hated Christianity.
Okay, if you say so.
But how can you be dishonest like that and live with yourself?
I don't believe I am dishonest.
But you have no proof.
It's not really worth arguing with you. What am I going to do? Reach through the telephone and show you a Facebook post?
Do you...
Or with the other guy. I can't show you anything. I could pull it up on my computer right now. How can I show it to you over the phone?
Do you really believe that police have police priority that ensure white male mass murders who don't end their life by killing themselves? You think that white people get special privilege other than anyone else who kill people?
How else do you explain that a mass murderer like James Holmes, who had grenades and an assault weapon, was taken alive, and an unarmed man like Mike Brown gets shot 6 times? Or a man armed with a toy gun, with a BB gun, or a child armed with a toy gun, or an unarmed man like Eric Garner gets strangled, gets choked literally over the course of a minute, saying that I can't breathe until he dies. But someone like James Holmes, who's literally in a crowded space, firing on people with long arms, with a rifle, and who has body armor and grenades, nonetheless, they don't shoot him. They don't even shoot at him. They take time to isolate him and take him alive. How do you explain that over and over again? These mass shooters in public spaces, who are typically white men, get taken into custody alive. The Gabrielle Giffords shooter that got taken into custody alive. It does speak to a difference in priorities. How do you explain that?
Okay, let me explain. You're going to keep asking me questions. Let me explain. Whites who kill are cowards, and so what they do, they raise their hands. Michael Brown and people like him are thugs who have no sense of quote-unquote fear. Michael Brown robbed a convenience store, attacked the worker in the store, went out into the streets, and attacked a police officer while in his car, and that's why Michael Brown is dead. Unlike these cowardly white people who committed crimes, they raised their hands.
James Holmes didn't surrender. He was subdued. He was wrestled to the ground.
But do you see the difference in it, though? And there is no comparison.
See the difference. Michael Brown and James Holmes had a gun, and they wrestled him to the ground. Was Mike Brown wrestled to the ground? No, he was shot at point-blank range.
Did Michael Brown attack a police officer?
Did Tamir Rice attack a police officer with a
No,
toy gun?
answer the question. That's not the answer to my question. Did Michael Brown...
I'm not talking about Michael Brown.
Did Mike Brown
Tamir Rice
attack...
was 12 years old and he was killed. That was in my
Did
own
Mike Brown attack a police officer? Yes or no?
I don't believe so.
You don't want to believe the truth? Why not?
No, I don't think he did.
Why is that you don't think so?
And even if he did, that's not... Even if he did, which I don't think he did...
Why is it that you don't think so?
Shooting.
Why is it that you don't think so?
Because there are witnesses who said that he didn't.
But there were witnesses who said he did, and there was a federal investigation by Barack Obama and Eric Holder, two black racists who would have loved to prove that Michael Brown didn't do it. They found no evidence of racism being involved in the situation at all.
There can't be a federal investigation if the charges against him were dropped. He wasn't even indicted. The grand jury threw it out, and the only time that the grand jury is treated like a trial when they actually show evidence for the defense.
Eric Holder found no proof of racism being involved in that situation at all. What do you guys say about that?
Okay. What about Tamir Rice? That was a 12-year-old
boy. Man, you're running. You're running.
Okay, so there's one case. There might be one case. It might be true.
It is true, not might.
Was a job shooting. So let's talk about something.
Hold on, Arthur. Let me take a break. I'll come back to you and some phone calls right after this break. Okay, folks, welcome back. We got to get to your calls here in a minute, Arthur and I. Arthur Chu is with me. There was a white man out of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, who allegedly shot and killed 3 people who were Muslims over a parking spot. Apparently, they have been fighting over this spot for a while. And this white guy is an atheist, confessed atheist. He hates all religions, according to his post. And he hates them all the same. But he says that, you know what? They have a right to do what they do. They have a right to set up shop in America and do a little religious thing. And he even was in support of Islam building a mosque near the World Trade Center. So he had the right. The only thing this guy did, he believed in the Second Amendment. Everything else was liberal about him, anti-God, anti-good, anti-religious, And now liberals are running around deliberately lying on the man, saying that he hated Muslims and that he killed the people because they were Muslims. You even have dumb Muslims saying the same thing. They won't say anything about Islam terrorism on Christianities and Jews, but they'll lie about this incident. They won't stand up against radical Islam, but no, they're going to stand up when someone kill a Muslim. Isn't that amazing? And Arthur Wright for the Daily Beast, and he is saying that white men get privilege or allowed privilege when they commit a crime and quote-unquote people of color don't. Arthur?
Cliven Bundy actually stockpiled weapons and defied the federal government and pointed guns at federal agents in what they called a standoff, and federal agents didn't kill them. Can you imagine a group of black people doing the same thing, or a group of Eastern people? Can you imagine that happening? Would that ever happen?
I want to go back and clear up something you said first.
Well, no, I'm asking you. You've asked me
I'll get to that in a minute. But Holmes was completely compliant when told to surrender, and you said that he wasn't, but he was. Just for the record, I want to straighten it out. You also wrote that the single greatest privilege of a privileged class, referring to white male America, is the benefit of the doubt. My question, do you agree all people should receive the benefit of the doubt?
I would hope so.
You do agree to that. Then why is it that, if you hope so, what do you mean by you will hope so?
I think I made that pretty clear in the article, actually. I would like there to be a world where that could happen, but I don't think we live in that world.
Where's your proof that that is not happening?
What do you mean it's not happening? Well, people aren't giving each other the benefit of the doubt, if that's what you mean.
Like
but
who?
What I
Give
mean,
me an example.
But what I mean is that the reason people like me don't give people like Craig, like the Chapel Hill shooter, the benefit of the doubt is that other people aren't given the benefit of the doubt.
Why is it that you're not giving the Chapel Hill shooter the benefit of the doubt? He clearly stated that he is an atheist. He hates all religions, but they still have the freedom to do what they want.
Okay.
And that the fight was over a parking dispute. Why aren't you giving him the benefit of the doubt?
Because it clearly isn't, and people like him get away with things like this. Darren Wilson gets away with things like this. The guy who shot
Dan Wilson,
Rice
what did Dan Wilson get away with? Right?
You know what? Forget Darren Wilson. How about the officer who shot Tamir Rice?
But Arthur, you do what liberals do.
How about what if?
No, it's not a what if. Let's talk about reality.
No. What if I agree that Mike Brown deserved to be shot? Okay? Mike Brown deserves to be shot. Hypothetical. Let's just put that out there.
It's
Tamir
true.
Rice, I care more about Tamir Rice because that happened in my hometown because he was a 12-year-old boy. Okay? And an officer jumped out of the car and shot him in 2 seconds. Should I give that officer the benefit of the doubt? How
old was that guy, Tamir Rice? How old was he?
12 years old.
Let me ask you this about Dan Wilson. Do you give Officer Dan Wilson, the benefit of the doubt? Does he deserve the benefit of the doubt?
He didn't give Mike Brown the benefit of the doubt.
That's not the question,
people
buddy.
Like you aren't giving him no. Okay, so the answer is no.
He does not deserve the benefit of the doubt. Why not?
Because other people aren't getting the benefit of the doubt. Mike Brown didn't get the benefit of the doubt. Tamir Rice, who's 12 years old, didn't get the benefit of the doubt.
How do you know that?
Because if he'd gotten the benefit of the doubt, the officer would have warned him or said something before jumping out of the car and immediately shooting him.
So you really believe, Arthur Chu out of Ohio, you really believe that white males are given the benefit of the doubt where other people are not. People, quote unquote, of color are not.
Yeah.
And yet you have no real facts of that at all. You just have personal speculations that you're putting out there without anything to back it up. And you're being a hypocrite because you do not want to give Officer Dan Wilson the benefit of the doubt, even after he has been proven not guilty.
Okay.
You're still not giving him the benefit of the doubt. Do you feel good about yourself doing that?
Sure.
Okay. Well, that explains it then. You don't mind being wrong.
I don't think I am wrong.
But you are wrong.
I don't think this is a useful conversation to have.
Let me go to Greg out of Delta, Utah. Greg, good morning, sir. You're on with Arthur Chu.
Yeah, good morning, Jesse. I'm surprised half your guests can even tie their shoelaces after listening to them for a while. They take known statements like race baiters and take their story of the situation where they've been proved over and over and over again lying and wrong, and they'll go with them. I mean, I'm so sick of the public changing language, too, and coming out with words like gay marriage. There's no such thing as gay marriage. Marriage comes from the Scripture, the Bible. It's called... and it's defined as a man and a woman. The other term is called sodomy. They're just, they can hardly even tie their shoelaces in the morning, I'm sure. I mean, this is ridiculous. And this is why I run your program for 3 hours a day, because it's almost entertaining to listen to some of these people.
Let's get a response from Arthur. Hold on, Arthur. I'll let you respond. And Greg, hold on. Let me take a quick break. We're coming back right after this break. Arthur Chu is with me. Hey, Arthur. Arthur, I got to say that, are you a liberal?
Yeah, I'd use that word.
Okay. I have to say, Bernie, I like the fact that you got a little fire in your belly A lot of liberals are afraid to confront black conservatives, and such as I am. And you have hung in there. I appreciate that. You're not quite as cowardly as they are, so I respect that.
Well, it's really an error of judgment on my part. I've been really busy, and I kind of blame myself, but I should have researched this show before coming on it. But, I know a guy who interviewed me named Dave Packman who does a similar show from the other perspective, where he's a liberal and he gets conservatives on his show, so his liberal guests can, yell at them or throw accusations at them, and I think that's kind of equally a waste of time.
You would not have come on the show had you known I was a black conservative?
If I'd known the kind of show it was, no, I wouldn't have.
Well, I take my compliment back. Then you are a coward.
Okay.
Hey, Greg, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Greg, Arthur, do you want to respond to what Greg said?
Well, I gotta laugh.
Not really.
I gotta laugh at the term liberal, because a liberal would be someone like George Washington who believed in liberties. These guys are is progressives. They want to get rid of all the laws. They create more laws and just create a big pile of mess.
Like George Washington,
they just keep changing the definitions of things so that they can, get their agendas passed. It's just ridiculous.
Okay.
How do you respond, Arthur?
Okay, sure, whatever.
All right. Thank you, Greg. I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you.
No problem.
All right. Let's go out to Chelsea, Michigan, and talk to Tony. Tony, you're on with Arthur. Thanks for calling. You're on the air.
Hey, Arthur kind of stole a little bit of my fire, so I won't be so fiery. But I do think it was over a parking space, and that's basically is where it goes. And the country affords all of us liberals, conservatives, to say whatever we want, however we want. But my only question is this: is Major Nadal Hassan, was that a hate crime? And not only that, he was promoted to lieutenant colonel when he went to jail and got over $300,000 while he was in custody, stealing his pay, and the family's got nothing for it. I mean, would you consider that a hate crime?
Arthur?
It would. Okay, where do you want me to go with this?
Was that a hate crime, Sergeant
Nadal? It was a hate crime, okay?
Yeah.
The other things, I'm not going to respond to at length because I don't want to get into a back and forth. And honestly, I'm only still here because I believe in keeping my commitments, but this is not productive, okay?
Right. Well, I just wanted to get an understanding. As a former officer in the Marine Corps, I knew what it was when it happened, and I just wanted to see what your perspective was. And like I say, Jesse, he stole my fire because really, it with him coming on the show, it's not productive for him because this is not his tribe, and they only how can I say this? They only flourish amongst their tribe, and you see it when the president speaks. Those are his tribal people. So that's why they always applaud him, and why we talk about him, because he's not going to listen to anybody, and why we continue to talk about him. It's just really a waste of all the conservatives' time.
Well, I appreciate him coming on, even though...
Well, I do too.
Yeah.
All right, have a good one, man.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Arthur, you have a website, anything you'd like to give out for the folks?
No.
No? Let's go to the Bible Go-To Guide of Los Angeles. Bible Go-To Guide, final call.
Yes, thank you.
Arthur.
Question for Arthur. Arthur, around the world and throughout history, let's see, especially, let's just handle modern times right now. Which races and which countries, according to Human Rights Watch groups, are the most heinous? Would it be those dang Arabs and Chinese? Would it be those Africans down there? Or would it be the free democracies of Europe and America, founded by white people?
Sure, whatever.
That's what I thought. All right, thanks.
I'm not answering any questions, man.
Wow.
I could go into it. I could talk about globalization. I could talk about how dictatorships in other countries are funded by the free democracies, etc. But whatever. You know what I'm going to say, and you've got a response for it, so screw it.
Yeah, right. All lies. All lies and propaganda. Just like those girls who accuse Israel of occupying and raping the women, and Israel is worse for women than the Muslims, and yet it's just the opposite of what they say. Yeah. So yeah, you would have all these lying statistics and stuff, but anybody can go over to Israel, and anybody can go over to the Arab countries and see what the difference is. I mean, you have to be blind to see what the difference is.
Barbara, good to God. Thank you, sir. I'm running out of time here. Thank you. Arthur, my final thing to you, I've noticed that liberals are revenge. They have revenged minds. For example, they assume that Darren Wilson did not give Mike Brown the benefit of the doubt. Therefore, you guys don't give Officer Darren Wilson the benefit of the doubt. And another thing that I think is evil that the liberals do, you people use black people to promote evil. You pretend that you love black people in order to use them to promote your own agenda. And I am really sick of seeing that. And I realize a lot of black people are angry. They don't see what you guys are doing to them. But I think the way that you use black people in order to promote your own agenda is absolutely evil. And I'm really sick of it. And I ask that you stop doing that.
Okay, whatever.
Okay, whatever?
I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing, and you're going to continue doing what you're doing. So
you're going to continue to use black people for your own personal gain?
If that's how you perceive it, then why am I going to argue with you about it?
So you are going to do that?
If that's what you think I'm doing now, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm not going to argue with you about what I'm doing.
And I'm surprised at you, man. You're Chinese, and you're using people of color for a liberal agenda. Where's your soul?
A liberal agenda is just a word for what I want to happen. It's for what I believe. It's for what my morals are. That's it.
But liberals don't have morals. Not good ones.
Okay.
Arthur Chu, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it. It was fun.
Okay.
All right. Bye. Back in a moment. Very interesting. I take my compliment back from that Arthur Chu. He wasn't as brave as I thought he was. Leroy, follow me on Twitter at JLP Talk. I am calling for Barack Obama to be impeached. It's time to get rid of this guy. He got to be impeached. Leroy, out of Louisiana, welcome to the show, sir.
Yeah, that Arthur, he was right. You don't give him credit, and he understand that you have the questions and the answer also. So he just proceeded to give his answer as to he gave it.
But Larry, explain what you're talking about.
When you ask him a question, you already have your answer formulated. So
did you give your name Leroy or Larry?
It doesn't matter who.
Why are you using a fake name? I know your voice.
I didn't say you didn't.
Well, why you saying your name was Leroy from New Orleans?
Larry Leroy.
Oh, Lord. All right, Larry Leroy.
But this is how you filibuster.
But what did I... So explain what you mean by that.
Well, the question you asked him, and he gave you his answer. Then you call him a coward. The man told you he had a commitment to stay in. So he hanged in, and you still insist on calling him a coward.
He is a coward because he wouldn't answer the question. He wouldn't dialogue with the people. He got angry and shut down. And he said, had he done his research and discovered that I was a black liberal, he would not have come on.
So he's honest on that.
Isn't that cowardly?
No, it's not.
He said a conservative. That's what he said.
He honored his commitment.
But isn't it cowardly not to come on the show because it is a conservative talk show host?
No, if he'd have hang up after breaking your camera.
No, I'm asking you another question, Larry. Larry, answer the question. You're filibustering. Is it cowardly to not come on the show if you do research and find out that it is a conservative talk show?
No, that's not cowardly.
Why not?
People pick and choose the shows they want to go on for whatever reason. You have to be a coward, Jesse.
But the guy,
you labeled him right there.
He's a coward, Larry.
Okay, Jesse, I'm gonna do like he do. If that's what you think, that's the way you perceive it. That's the way it is for you.
He said that he would not have come on had he done his research.
That's being honest. That's being honest.
But also cowardly.
Okay, all right, Jesse.
Hey, Larry. So your first name is Leroy?
Yes.
Yes. So your first name is Leroy?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Middle name.
So your name is Larry Leroy?
Yes, sir.
That's a nice name.
It's something like Punchy, huh?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Leroy Larry.
Okay.
All right, buddy. All right, folks, I can't take any more calls. I'm out of time. Thank you for tuning in and calling in. A battle between good and evil. Impeach Barack Obama. Back tomorrow if God is willing and the creek don't rise.
Peterson Show, produced by Bond, Brotherhood Organization of a New Destiny.